Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your co-host, Camden.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children. What the hell? But neither is our D&D games.
On to our main topic. I'm really excited about this topic, campaign achievements. Obviously, anybody that listens to the show knows almost all of us play video games, right? That's a pretty common thing. So you might be asking yourself, well, what is a campaign achievement? It is a predefined goal that the players must achieve in a game. In this case, the idea comes from, things like video games, for instance. A player may...
Like the achievements from Xbox or the PSN trophies.
Right. A player may earn them just through playing the game, but but some can only be earned in very specific circumstances, thus giving the player some sort of self-satisfaction, or a way kind of to impress other people with their accomplishments, right?
Headshot.
I think in Xbox it's a gamer score, right? Is that right? Everybody know?
Yep. That's about right.
What does Kenny say there?
Normally when they hear the Kenny Ray thing, people think he'd be a good country singer.
Today we'll be discussing how achievements can be constructed and added to a D&D game, and Today we'll be discussing how achievements can be constructed to be added to a D&D game by being enticing, meaningful for meaningful for players. Oftentimes, achievements are used to convince players to go out of their way to do things they probably wouldn't normally do. So this is a great way to kind of figure out what is important to each player, right? Because you have some people who want to be the best at the highest damage, right? So if there's an achievement out there, they might try to build their character to be the highest damage dealer. If they know that their character wants to be some sort of manipulator, they might find maybe one of the achievements is manipulate a king into doing your bidding or some shit like that. You can drive players' wants and desires using achievements, even if that's not your initial intent.
Oh, great. Now I'm thinking about that one part in Portal 2.
There's a lot of one parts in Portal 2.
Oh, I know.
Be a little more specific.
Well, when you're falling through a shaft in clouds, like, oh, that's supposed to be the part where he kills you. Hello, that's the part where I kill you. Chapter 12, the part where he kills you. Achievement earned, the part where he kills you.
Oh, jeez. Have you played, Camden, have you played Portal?
Yes.
Amazing
I'm
game,
not
isn't it?
a lot of the people who play Portal are like hardcore Portal fans, and that's in a lot of cases like they're really weird about puzzle games because of Portal. I'm not one of those, but I was definitely into Portal at some point.
Oh crap! No, Stay Alive stuck in my head.
Is that Sam behind you?
Yeah.
What are you doing dropping in our show like that? That's
Justin's upset. It's very
I'm torn.
I'm leaving a note here.
I have nerdy birthday present for Camden.
Oh, let's see it. Show it right on air. Let's see it. What'd you get him? Come on, Camden, open that shit up. Let's all laugh if his gift isn't good enough. Well, the box sucks. Why didn't you wrap it? What the hell?
Because he's lazy.
What kind of cheap ass shit is that?
I'm very low maintenance.
Well, tell him he lose 10 cool points for not wrapping that shit.
He's mad at you for not wrapping it.
It just came right now.
Sounds like a lot like me sometimes. That didn't come out right. Come on, Camden, we don't got all the goddamn day.
It was taped.
Oh, taped. I see a book.
Yo, this is tight. It's okay. It's a customizable screen.
Hey,
Oh, that looks familiar.
I got that one.
That's pretty tight.
That is
Thank you.
baller.
No, I actually legitimately have that one.
Yeah, we heard you. But it's his moment. You're
Right.
trying to pull from it.
And a dice rolling box.
Oh,
Nice.
snap.
Nice.
Hey, Sam, you just earned 5 points, so you're at least not out of the negative now.
All right, just for a heads up, Camden, with that DM screen, it is a good one, but don't leave any sheets in there for too long because they'll start sticking.
Stick into the screen?
Yeah,
Or to the plastic? Yeah, I had that issue.
it's pain to pull out.
All right, so,
That is cool.
yeah, it is. The goal is, overall is to increase player loyalty, motivations, and interest in the campaign, in addition to adding a new layer to their fun. I personally love when players come up with extremely creative solutions to problems, or come up with ways, unique solutions, to accomplish whatever challenge I've set out, or if they just go out of the way to have a quote unquote cool moment. And achievements can really help encourage this sort of behavior. Another thing is they can be helpful for outside of the game as well. Now, I found this kind of accidentally, but they're a great way to generate plot hooks and quests, because if you read some of them, and we're going to get to them, you'll figure out why they why they are good for plot hooks, specifically. So with that being said, we'll be going over some achievements that we've got from Scribd.com, but when you are doing the process, whether you're getting them from this website or you're creating them yourselves, try to include the players in the creative process, because if you do and they come up with some cool stuff, it'll drive them to be more involved in the world you're making, which is always important as a DM. So keep in mind, though, achievements can only be earned by a player once. Right?
Ding.
That being said, we have a huge list here. If you're watching our show live, if you go to the show notes, there is a link to the Scribd.com document with the D&D achievements, and you can follow along and tell us which ones you like and which ones you think are really cool. As well as I've added some of my personal favorites, ones that I got from that, as well as some that I created personally. But since Camden is our guest, would you like to maybe pick out one or two to talk about and tell them why you like them and see what kind of discussion we can get from them?
Yeah, sure. I think doing it from behind is funny. If you have a rogue in your party, obviously.
Right. What does that do?
So this is successfully killing 10 enemies with a sneak attack. So
Nice.
This is 2-0 HP with a sneak attack. That's pretty fun. I think that's really cool, especially if you have a power gamer who is trying to build an assassin character. I liked that one a lot. I also enjoy Can't Keep Me Down as like a recovery achievement, and that is recovering back from 0 HP 3 times in a single encounter.
So even the person who sucks ends up with something.
Very accessible.
That's funny. Those are some really good examples. One of the other ones I put on here, which is kind of straightforward, was Headhunter. It's decapitate 30 enemies. Now, it's been I've played a lot of D&D. I don't recall very often somebody actually going out of the way to decapitate what they've killed. Anybody else?
I may have had a barbarian that did that quite a bit.
Maybe it's part of his character concept. Maybe. Ed says if you put satin sheets in between, they don't stick as much. Sarah loves these. She says they are great. Ian, what ones do you like? Either what are on here, or I can open up this link here and you can scroll through them.
Well, actually, one I even thought about just from reading this was like, I feel like I once saw one called Thunk Headshot, where you essentially one shot at least 10 enemies with a projectile weapon.
Ooh, that's nice.
Which was not on the list, but still.
I'm a huge Pulp Fiction fan, so when I read this one, I couldn't stop cracking up. And it says, "Does he look like a bitch?" And it just says, "Successfully interrogate an NPC."
I like that one too.
That's one of my favorite ones. There's some other really good ones in here, like one again. I just recently talked about one of my favorite movies, and the second one just came out, The Incredibles. So there's one here that I got here. It says, "You got me monologuing." It says, "Take advantage of a talkative villain," which I think a lot of players do often tend to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he begins talking, "I'm going to stab him in the gut." And some of them aren't as obvious. Like, and what's really cool is these ones on this Scribd.com website, they are in like a cutout form with like the D&D logo. So I could easily see you like cutting these out and like sticking them to like a board underneath all the characters' names as they collect these achievements. I think that's pretty cool. What's a couple other ones you like here, Camden? Either on our sample list or on the original list.
On the sample list, there's one called "What Are You, Psychic?" which is encouraging metagaming. Question mark.
Well, it's either encouraging it or they done fucked up and they got it and now everyone knows. Or it could be dissuading it, right?
Okay, that's funny. So it's an achievement publicly shaming.
Yes.
But rewarding it.
You know what? I take back giving multiples. I would love to see just like one player have like 30
yeah.
of these things. That's such a douche thing.
Well, let me see here. Ultra Combo. Pull off a successful combat attack with 3 or more characters.
That's something that we've talked about extensively on the show, trying to work towards. By making an achievement for it, it will encourage the players to want to do that. You know what I mean? So not only are these really neat little references, because I feel like that if the players started earning these, they would remember those moments really clearly too, how they got that, especially if it was a more difficult one. I could even see you maybe even rating these like copper, silver, and gold, how difficult they would be to obtain.
And I don't see anything wrong with coming up with some achievements on the spot if you're the DM too.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, these are just samples. A lot of the sample ones on our page here that aren't part of the link are some that I had come up with, just by sitting with them. Like, you know, there obviously there's a lot of movie references as Sarah has pointed out, which I think is really cool because once again it kind of adds to that flair to it. There's one really here. One of my favorite movies was Sparta, the 300. Have you seen it?
Of course.
And so this is Sparta, and the achievement is just kick somebody off a ledge to their death. Can you imagine one guy who wants that just trying to kick everybody off? Like, I kicked him off a set of stairs. Does that count?
No.
Okay. Well, I thought it would. What about this one? Prop Master. Bring a campaign-related prop to session.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Big
love
fan.
stuff like that.
Oh. Oh heck no! These are not made known to the players beforehand.
Yeah. Kenny Ray actually asked, "Are these made known to the players beforehand, or are they just happen?" I think you could probably go either way.
Mix and match, maybe.
Or mix and match. Yeah, maybe you've got some that, hey, here's some achievements we've got, and then I want you to know there are some hidden ones that might just occur when you guys do really cool things.
Or ones that make up on the spot because it's awesome.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even tell them that. I would just say that there's some ones, and if you have to create and fill them out to your heart's content, that's fine too.
I would say that would be specific to your table. If you have a lot of very outgoing people who love the role play and doing weird shit, definitely don't tell them that these are things specifically. You can let them know that you're doing inspiration for certain achievement things. But if you have a more introverted table and you're having trouble, maybe some beginners at the table, to kind of pull them out of their shells a little bit, you might be like, hey, here's a cookie if you do this.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point, is that and I think you've touched on it perfectly, is this can be a tool to pull people out of their shell and into the game more, especially since they've got like movie references. I think that could kind of handle it. Like this one here says blue, no, yellow, and it says die from a puzzle. Anybody who's seen Monty Python knows that reference.
Actually, from the same movie, I just thought the achievement. That rabbit's dynamite! Where you basically get critted on by a woodland creature.
Critted on by a woodland creature while you're taking a nap.
There's an achievement called fucking hippie.
There is?
Fucking hippie. Deal no damage during an encounter.
That's terribly funny. Oh, how about this one? Imperial Marksmanship Academy. Score 3 ranged misses in one encounter. I feel like that would piss some people off, especially if you change the icon from like a little dragon head to a little Imperial helmet.
Stormtrooper.
Oh man, some of these are a little harder to get than others, and I think that's what makes it interesting as well. Oh, can you keep up with that? I can't read all that. You don't got to read them right now. Just if they're interesting, then regurgitate them. How about this one? There's been a really popular movie that just came out, and this one's called Clever Girl. Flank and kill an unsuspecting enemy. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, man. Some of these are fantastic. What about this one? Get on with it.
Get on with it!
Talk out of character for a full minute. Now I'm more and more interested in giving just tons of these things out.
Yeah.
That probably
There's,
pissed the players off.
Yeah.
To go along with our recent past episodes, there's an achievement called Objection. Win a legal case in game.
Ooh, nice. That's a good
So
one.
You guys were talking about your
Mm-hmm.
cloak and dagger, the political intrigue,
Yep.
and that court trial that you ran at the table one time.
Yes, that was so much fun, man. I you had to be there. Tub humping. Is that what that says?
Yep.
Tub thumping.
Oh, tub thumping.
I get knocked down,
And I get up again. I get it. That's
Yeah.
funny. Reach 0 HP twice in an encounter.
Get knocked down, but then get up again.
Hey, Ian. Whose life is it anyway?
Kill an enemy with an improv weapon.
Yes. I am a huge fan of using improv, man. I love if it can be used as a weapon. Toruk Makto will use it. Even if it's another person.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What are some other really good ones here? Oh, man. I just love this idea. What we got going on there? Sorry, I keep covering it up. You can see right here, right?
Yeah.
There's one called Glutton for Punishment. Knowingly activate a trap.
What is this? Blue Falcon?
Falcon.
Falcon Punch. What's the Blue Falcon?
I don't know.
I don't see that one.
Oh, there it is.
Where? Blue Falcon. Thank you, Tate. Get your entire party dragged into trouble. That's funny. I mean, so aside from karma's a bitch, experience revenge from an old enemy. See, now this kind of goes into what I was talking about. They can be powerful tools for inspiring you as the DM to come up with adventures. Because if you see, this karma's a bitch, you think, you know what? They fought that guy once and he got away. You might forget about stuff like this. So you can definitely use it as a tool in that to enhance your creative side.
Okay, this one's kind of funny. I'm here to lead, not read. Ignore a critical plot point.
That's good.
Which happens quite a bit in some games, it seems.
Yeah, it's true. So some of the overruled. Be ignored by the DM when citing rules.
Or for all you airplane fans, I speak jive. Act as the party translator.
Oh, that's hilarious. Actually, that just happened in our most recent game, didn't it? You guys were parlaying with the orcs, and several people had no idea what they were saying.
That was pretty cool. It was nice because it's especially cool when the character who is not fluent in whatever language is being used has an idea. I'll be like, well, tell them this. Sambridge was like, so I take it they're not coming with us because we were trying to get the orcs to come with us to help out with the main objective. And my character had telepathy in every language, so I was able to communicate with the orcs. Sambridge's character couldn't, and I got done with my conversation. I'm like, yeah, they're not coming. And Sambridge is like, well, they should at least come watch. Tell them to come watch. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You should come watch. That was fun.
Which actually is one of your guys' persuasive argument is the reason why they came and helped, which meant that village didn't totally get overrun. So that's entirely your guys' success. I do have one question in regards to that, and this isn't really related to this topic, but remind me to ask you about the reactions of the NPCs later to your thought. As a player.
Sure.
So anyways, actually, Edward Tate has a few there, and so does Sarah, but I'm trying to find them, so page numbers would help.
Well, Sarah's one was pretty straightforward, which is, oh yeah, which is basically bursting through a wall.
Kool-Aid, yeah. That's funny. I like stuff like that. So there's a lot of really good stuff here. I think this idea is pretty awesome and can add a lot of, fun to it. The other thing is, as of right now, this is more of a role-playing thing, but, you could give rewards out for these things too for people getting achievements, which is originally why I suggested that you only give them once, because otherwise they'll just continue to want to do the same thing over and over. But
Oh, great. I just love a quote I think would make a hilarious achievement. But the full quote is from the show American Dad. Son, there's only one thing you need to know about karate. Gun beat karate every time.
gun beat karate. That's funny. There's one on here that I thought was really interesting, because you'll notice a lot of the stuff is in game, but some of it is out of game.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the one that I think is the most harsh, and it's called Play 4 Quarters. Show up to 4 consecutive gaming sessions.
Damn.
That's almost like an impossibility for anybody but the DM, it seems.
I showed up to every session.
Yeah, you do. I got to give you props to that. Would you like an achievement?
Ding!
We'll put it on your little tent next time you fill it out. So yeah, to give these a little more in-game effects, you can also attach rewards to them. If you're one of those people who doesn't use the inspiration reward system enough, this is a really cool tool for that, because when they get an achievement, it can be a reminder that they have an inspiration point, which gives them a mechanical advantage in the game, which would also cause them to seek out these different achievements. And, of course, inspiration isn't the only reward you could give as well.
Oh, heavens no.
I mentioned earlier, if you decided to tier them by difficulty, you could even change the rewards. I came up with some pretty good rewards I think would be good fillers for different achievements or all achievements. You can mix and match them or just use one. If inspiration isn't your thing, maybe you just let them regain a hit die. Or maybe they instantly heal 1 hit dice worth of HP. They get a token or something. Yeah, I would say each of these you give them like a token reward or something. Another one would be regain the use of 1 ability that recharges on a short rest. What are some other ones you guys can think of?
You can impose.
I think it would be cool. I think it'd be cool to plant a magic item, like a good magic item that you weren't planning on using before, and putting it in the campaign somewhere as sort of karma and not overt out of game. Like, here is a hit die, here is advantage on the next check. Doing something more implicit in the game that you might not have planned before, but to reward the character for something.
Can you give a good example?
Like giving a paladin or a fighter character that is going especially with what their character would do in the game. In one of these achievements or otherwise, maybe planting a really cool weapon for them to use.
Oh, that's cool.
If it's a spellcasting character, maybe a book that grants them temporary abilities to their.
So use the collection of achievements as a way to pass out magical loot.
I just saw a very, very sad achievement for a playthrough.
What's that?
Well, the achievement would be attempting to betray someone and utterly failing at it.
Oh no! What would it be called?
You failed me for the last time, Starscream!
Sarah's got a really good one here. Put the tard in tardy and be the last person to the game.
That is on the list.
Oh, well, whatever.
So
Sarah
fun.
pointed it out.
It is a good one.
I like cookies, too. Are you offering to make me cookies? Because I love peanut butter cookies.
Chocolate chip, that's what I'm a sucker for.
Some other rewards I think would be really cool. You can gain an auto success on a skill check. I think that could be a very valuable reward. I feel like if you gave that to somebody, they would hold on to the moment where it made the most difference. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Have this thing for a year in a campaign. Get to that final boss. Persuade him that everything he's done is wrong and why he's wrong. Boom. Auto success. That's something one of my players would do. That's something you would do, Ian.
Yeah. Achievement. Survive a hit and only have 1 HP remaining.
That's
It's just a flesh wound.
That's a good one. Another reward could be you could impose disadvantage on an attack roll against you as a reaction. So you could give them kind of a defense mechanic or token to kind of hopefully save him from an oh shit moment. But do you guys have any other cool uses or advantages to using campaign achievements? And maybe what are your thoughts if something like this was to come up in your game? Don't all answer at once.
Achievement. When you go first and end your turn adjacent to at least 4 enemies. Name. Here comes Leroy.
Oh God.
Jenkins.
Honestly, I am surprised that wasn't in there.
I know, right?
I thought it would be, but I didn't see it.
Dang it, Leroy.
Yeah, that about covers it. It's really cool to as the DM to be able to reward your players however you'd like. Justin likes doing advantages on checks and things, but the beauty of it is you can spin it however you want as long as it's fair.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for buying me a few seconds there.
Diversification's good.
Yeah, Sarah says, I like the idea to diversify. It can get stressful as a player when you don't get anything. You have no idea how right you are. And I think
Strahd.
that's one of the... Were you going to say something else? Sorry.
I was referring to the campaign in general.
Oh, yeah, Strahd. One of the hardest things, at least for me as a DM, is to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to be in the spotlight. And that's a very challenging thing to do. And then for instance, when you have a fight that all the other players might go 2 or 3 times, and the game match ends just before that last person's turn or something like that, and they don't get a magic item or any of that sort of stuff, it can feel kind of... it can kind of be sad sometimes. So being able to have an ulterior way to give benefits to the players in ways that can help them when the time comes, I think will really... it'll give a good needed, bump of encouragement that, God, I know what I want to say, but I'm too stupid to figure out how I want it to come out. I think it adds something like this adds another reward system to the game that will allow players to engage on multiple levels, especially since people like to collect stuff. And some people like that stuff more than other, but you might have the players that really like this sort of thing, and even the person that's not as interested might be interested just because they might get some mechanical benefit for like power gamer type stuff. But
you got the touch.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is if these come with little printouts that you could print out and then maybe keep track of if you wanted. In our show notes is also what's called a badge maker from naturalcrit.com/badges, and you can actually make your own little achievement badges for each one if you want and make them all different for your players if you really wanted to get down and dirty with it. Honestly, that's more work than I would do since the ones come with the logos and that's good enough for me. But
yeah, some of the feedback we're getting here from our patrons here is Kenny Ray says he's not sure if he likes a reward that definitely gives success. Advantage he's fine with, but all success, not so much, because it could take away from the challenge or the fights or the scenarios. And Tater's like, well, let's be careful about giving out too much advantage or too often to some players.
Yeah, I can see that, but I also am the type of DM that likes to see my players succeed, but I'm also the same DM who nearly kills them all the time. Though it seems like it's been a lot less since I started running modules, doesn't it? A little bit? Yeah, so I can definitely see both Kenny and Edward Tate's points there.
And let's face it, there's some PCs out there that kind of need the help every now and then.
Yeah. I do see the risk of giving a 100% success rate, but you could also make that something super rare as well. And make it worth it, because sometimes they need that sometimes. Sometimes they need that win. You know what I mean? When you have a really, really bad night of poor rolls, and they've got something that can turn the tide, sometimes you need that.
Hello, Sam. That reminds me, and I'll keep this brief. When I used to play HeroClix back in Mount Pleasant, we at the store had a shirt that said, I have perfected the art of rolling exactly what I need. -1. And the house rule was if you did it at least 5 times in a row, and one game you had to buy the shirt.
Oh, jeez.
And there was one tournament where I do not think I rolled a single success at all, so I ended up buying the shirt.
Yeah.
Even the judge was like, "Wow, I do not think I've ever seen anybody roll that bad in one night."
So I know that this may not be for every table.
No.
But I do believe that if it's used correctly, it could add a new level to your game. D&D or otherwise, it could be system agnostic. You can easily change what the rewards are and what the titles are. Remember though, to be successful with achievements, Remember though, to be successful, the achievements must be interesting and meaningful.
Oh yeah.
Either by using samples that we've provided here or something you've come up with yourself. But consider how the achievements can be used to encourage players to engage in tasks they wouldn't normally do. Because that's really what it's about, right? Trying to open your players up to more options and encouraging them to do different things. For instance, we mentioned the one, get knocked down 3 times and get up. Well, if you already got knocked down 2 times, what's one more gonna do? Charging recklessly and go for that achievement.
A cheap idea. Where's the kaboom? Where's the earth-shuddering kaboom?
Best villain ever.
Have your ball spell counter-spelled. Or something to that effect, anyway.
Any last comments there, Camden, before we move on?
I would say one thing: if you're going to use inspiration, like actually giving extra dice to your players for stuff, I know, like, it's very different to tell the player, you have a d6 of inspiration for the next thing. You have advantage on the next thing. What I would recommend as DM is bring extra dice with you, preferably like pretty looking ones or unusual ones, and come ready with those and have the physical token of their inspiration to hand to them.
Or have dice that are so hideous that no sane man would willingly own them, so we'll let you steal them, and it'll stand out.
Actually, I think when we're talking inspiration, I think we're talking about the D&D 5th edition mechanic,
yeah,
which just lets you roll 2d20, an extra d20, which according to the rules does have a limit of 1. But I definitely like what you're saying there. When I know there was a bard that used to play in one of my games who always had a guitar pick as his inspiration. He would just pass out fancy-looking guitar picks, which, by the way, is awesome. That needs to be like a player tip or something.
I think we've actually used that before.
Have we? We might have.
I guess what I'm trying to say is don't underestimate the power of having a physical manifestation of the inspiration rather than just saying you have inspiration on the next one. Because then you just have to put that away as a mental note and remember, oh, I can roll this again if I want. Having a physical thing there to remind you is helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I briefly picture me instead of having a physical thing there to remind you. You have gained a point of inspiration. Reach under the table, slam down from the player a giant dragon statue.
Sam, in regards to asking it whether the players know, we did discuss that briefly. I think that it's perfectly okay to do either or. Either let them know all of them or keep them all hidden and just say you're doing it, or do a mix of both where you can have a list of, hey, there's going to be 50 achievements in this campaign and you can see 30 of them. The rest are the other 20 are hidden. Something like that. Either way, I think it would have the same effect. Regardless, though, I think it would be best if they did know them, just because you want to encourage them to go and seek these out and try to trip. If I know that I can get an achievement by talking to this guy and intimidating him and persuading him to give me my information as opposed to just gutting him, then I might go out of my way to try to do that because I know I can earn that, maybe earn that inspiration to use in a more tight manner, So, but, yeah. So I think that'll do it for our main topic today. There was one other reward that I really liked. And I think I call it, you ignore the effects of the next trap that hits you. Well, I would love something like that, because I have lost too many wizards to stupid traps. I lost a wizard to a pit trap in his first adventure. I lost a wizard to a spectral hand coming through a door he tried to open. Yeah. Now he always uses mage hand to open doors. All right, I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on to our unearthed tips and tricks, or before we move on to our final segment, our unearthed tips and tricks segment, we have one more gift to give away. Compliments of Loresmith. Ian, who's our winner today?
Our winner today is Raven Games.
That is the wrong button.
I'm amused.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand, it don't have to hide.
Congratulations, Raven Games. If you enjoy your adventure, please head on over to Loresmith. Let them know what you think. Leave them a review. Tell them what you like, what you didn't like, and help them improve their product moving forward. I did not mean to delete that. All right. So our fourth and final segment. Camden, would you like to talk about our character concept? Oh.
Sure thing.
I got to add. Our fourth and final segment, our Honor Tips and Tricks, where we give you creative content for you to bring with you on your next adventure. Would you like to take that one?
Our character concept of the podcast is the chiropractor. This character studied to be a healer of sorts. They developed techniques for manipulating pressure points around the spine. Applying great pressure through the back or other points around the body allows this character to control the flow of energy in the body, forcing the body to focus its recovery to certain areas, allowing the wounds to recover at a rapid pace. This is best, obviously, with a healer-type character. We have specifically here the Unearthed Arcana monk tranquility tradition, the tradition of tranquility that allows similar mechanics.
Yes. I'm glad you talked about that. I think this is a absolutely hilarious character concept. Whether it's the monk traditional the monk tradition tranquility, which you mentioned is Unearthed Arcana, where you're punching and throwing in pressure point punches to heal somebody. But I just love the idea of a big giant dummy healer who just bear hugs everyone when they're hurt and starts giving them smooches and stuff, but like cracks their back and then bends it in the wrong way, or grabs them by the arm and jerks on their shoulders, rubbing them up and down, making sure that they feel all fancy.
Okay, I thought about two things with the examples just given. First one, obviously, Fist of the North Star.
Yes.
And the other one was, did you ever watch the show How I Met Your Mother?
Kind of.
A running gag was like, everybody in the office had a nickname, and one of them was Awkward Massage Guy. A gag would appear out of nowhere and start giving people like back massages.
Yeah. I thought it would be funny to have somebody that that runs around and jerks around the players and picks them up and bear hugs them to crack their back, or like bends them over in combat and like twist their arms so their whole I just think that whole idea of flavor would be funny, and I think it would get funnier and funnier the more you played through.
You'll have stiff joints. Here, I fix.
Ed says it sounds more like an acupuncturist. Is that what those are called? Don't they use needles?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a kind of, I guess, the sort of chiropractors are more like realigning your bones and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you could reflavor this as an acupuncturist too. I think.
Yeah,
that'd be
easily.
And to be fair, a good chiropractor does go a long way.
Yeah, do you guys? There was an old episode of The Simpsons where Homer's back was bugging him pretty hardcore, and then he tripped and fell over his trash can, and it fixed his back. So then all his buddies felt like crap. So then they pushed them all over the trash cans, and it fixed their back. So I could just imagine having a big barbarian who's got a really big giant rock that he just carries with him as like his melee weapon, but then tosses it down and like throws his allies over top of it to like bend their back and fix their joints and stuff like that.
Here, I fix.
I don't know. I thought it was goofy and would be fun, and immediately reminded me of those old, chakra people.
Yep.
So in either case, I think you could use it going either direction. Camden, do you think you have anything else you'd like to talk about that, or you good?
No, I just think it's especially cool to use this as a reflavor for healing spells.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to be the cleric and be like, I extend my hands and they glow, and my the symbol of my deity glows, and the Halo theme plays, and it's pretty generic. This is a really cool flavoring of like a way to heal your.
A big old Goliath just comes like punches you in the back and Whoa!
Wow, I feel a lot more limber than I have in years. And I don't feel like smoking anymore.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it could be fun. I like to play big, goofy guys, so I would love to play a healer like even like a paladin would be really good with something like this with their lay on hands, and the lay on hands is them just like bending them over their knee backwards across on their back. That'll do it for our character concept, the chiropractor. Ian, do you want to tell us about our monster variant?
Our monster variant is the Bang Babies. Although, reading the description, could they be called Boom Babies?
That's what it was originally, and I changed it.
But I like Boom Babies.
Yeah, so I got
I like the Emperor's New Groove.
I had let me find this. I had a tweet
Boom,
from
baby.
a listener who asked me, or asked us rather, what type of variant we would make for him to run in his Lost Mines of Phandelver, because he had some players who had already done it.
Yeah.
And his name is Roll for Laughs. Yes, Roll for Laughs asks about it. So immediately the first thing I came up with was, he said he wanted a reflavor. So instead of the Boom Baby, he got a porcupine type hedgehog creature that had claws for slashing instead of a scimitar, and instead of its bow, it reflavored it as he could spin really fast and shoot a barrage of spines at the enemy, which is essentially just like a Sonic the Hedgehog thing that I came up with. But for this one, do you want to finish up, tell what the abilities are, and we can talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, the Bang Babies, the origin of this is a goblin, but they also gain the Booming Blade cantrip, and you replace their short bow with Frostbolt or the Frostbite cantrips. Kind of fun.
And so this kind of came up because I love to find ways to get more uses out of the different features monsters have. In this case, goblins have a very specific ability called Nimble Escape, which allows them to disengage or hide as a bonus action. So I thought, well, if that's the case, what happens if they attack them with like Booming Blade, which punishes you for what?
Moving.
For moving. You hit them with this attack. Now, the damage isn't much bigger. I think it's like a point bigger than what they were doing or something like that. But the punishment comes if they decide to chase the goblin, because the goblin just runs and hits and runs away. And now that they're at a distance, they can channel like a Frostbolt, which slows the enemy down, meaning they can't catch up as easily.
Yep, I'm definitely picturing Nelson from The Simpsons.
Camden, what do you think about this?
I think this is awesome, especially given the context that this was designed to be in place of just normal gobos in a campaign that people have already played before. I'm all for slight tweaks and unexpected action.
Well, and especially if you have played the adventure before,
Right.
and this thing runs up, hits you, and run away, and you start humming with energy, and you chase after it, and I love stuff like this. I think that this is very fun, and I think that while I don't think mechanically they outdo the critters in as much damage, but I think by utilizing their running away more and locking the players down, I think it can definitely turn the same number of goblins into a more tactic-heavy encounter than it previously was. And who doesn't just like throwing your players off?
Yeah.
I know I do.
True.
I don't think we have any other talking points. I actually just realized I didn't put a fancy description in this. Shame on me. I really dropped the...
Baby.
Yeah. I had a brain fart. I knew what I want to say. I looked right at it. Yeah, I just dropped the baby on that one. So that'll do it for our monster variant. Our encounter of the podcast comes from Twitter user Snicklesocks. A stolen gnomish flying machine has been terrorizing the land, killing from the air. Your team is tasked with collecting the supplies to build another machine and appointing one of your group to hunt down the villain, the Gnome Warrens. This may be a one-way trip. But I love this. This is awesome.
Meow.
That was terrible. I love stuff like this because not only does it get you off the ground and into the air, but the players are involved in the assembly of said thing, which means as a DM and the douche that I am, even if they were doing all their skill checks and failed, I wouldn't tell them until they were in the air.
I said use the Y joint.
I think this, to me, this is an opportunity for many different things. One's because they're involved in it. That's always fun because now you have to set up running quests for them to get the components and stuff, which is fun in and of itself. But more importantly, it involves them in the story in a way that it's not just something that's been given to them. So now once they've assembled it, it's something that they own. And that to me is huge.
Until it crashes.
Now, Camden, what do you think they'd be dropping out of those?
Like,
Let's get warm in here.
Yeah,
would,
it is.
like weapons, like bombs.
Oh, yeah?
don't
That would be a good one. I could imagine dropping little bombs, bring it down the house.
Or throw the
think-
ranger inside with a bow.
Oh, there you go.
Or the
So,
mage.
I think this is cool. I think the two coolest parts of these, the first one you already mentioned, is that this main objective kind of gives way to a bunch of smaller objectives where they need to collect the parts and figure out how to build something. And then once they have it built, I think the second coolest part to this is figuring out their strategy once they're off the ground to get to catch the stolen craft from the criminal, whoever stole
I'm
it.
going to call it a dirigible.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a dirigible. It's a dirigible.
I'm totally
to catch the dirigible. So you could have something really cool where they task the smartest character, the character with the highest intelligence or the most savvy with driving things, maybe depending on how your PCs are built. And you could be like, okay, we're gonna build this. You can have them create their own craft as specific as they want.
Oh, that's clever, Tater. Use
and then-
Legos.
And like come up with a plan like, okay, as
Or
soon as
connects.
we can hover above the dirigible and drop our fighter in there and have him incapacitate the driver, or we can build like a underbelly turret for our wizard to shoot shit out of, something like that.
That's really cool.
Have the warlock with
that's
the
where I see this going. You could do a lot of cool stuff with this.
have a warlock with the feat that doubles cantrip spell range, and on top of that, take the invocation that increases the Eldritch Blast range to a crap ton.
Yeah. Now, while I think that's cool, I don't know that a player would specifically build their character for this unless it was like a one encounter.
Right.
But what I could see them doing is if they collectively find that they have these, figuring out what the party's strengths are, and like you said, utilizing them in the assembly of this. I don't know why. I love the idea. You remember those old fighter jets that had the little domes underneath with the little
Ball turrets.
machine guns.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
What if you have one that's glass and then the mage has got his hands just sticking out of it and he's bum, 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 bum.
Bum bum ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum. Just get a bunch of crazy pieces and dump them, and have them put it together.
Oh, that's hilarious. That'd be really funny. That's Edward Tate in regards to like Legos or Connects and stuff like that. That I think is cool. Having like a physical assembly thing that they can do
It's a good
would
idea.
be really, really cool.
We built this plane, and we didn't even use all the parts.
But going back to what I said earlier, you obviously are going to use skill checks to do this. And while failure is, oh, you didn't successfully assemble that. Failure, oh, you didn't successfully assemble that, but you're already in the air is far more interesting to me. Like maybe the guy that assembled that dome on the bottom that the wizard is casting his blast out of didn't do a very good job. And the wizard's in there as like a bolt falls out over and over and over.
At which point it makes things more interesting. You can throw saving throws at them, or if they want to try to fix something, intelligence checks, things like that.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. This is a great encounter. I can't recommend Snickle Socks enough. His Twitter page is full of stuff like this, so definitely check him out. Any other thing we want to touch on that?
I think we touched a pretty broad
All
spectrum.
right. That'll do it for our encounter of the podcast.
Oh, great. Now I'm thinking about one line from Hellsing Abridged. We have one advantage that they do not. Zeppelins.
That was an Avatar too, wasn't it? The Last Airbender.
They did something like that.
Yeah, where they thought they had this huge advantage because they could fly, and then they let their balloon like disappear, and they took it, and
Yeah.
that didn't work out very well.
No.
So, Camden, would you like to do our magic item?
Sure. Our magic item is the Battle Barding Amulet. This is designed for a beast or a pet, an animal companion, or any sort of NPC companion that you might have traveling with you for a long period of time.
Real quick, has anybody seen any magical items in any of the books that are for the companions themselves, the beast pets?
Not to my knowledge.
Because I couldn't find anything, and I didn't know if I overlooked something.
Not to my knowledge.
I'll talk about a beloved game of mine that actually does make pretty extensive use of pet buffs.
Okay.
But first, this magic item, it's a red wooden amulet that hangs from a vine-like necklace. The amulet itself has the ancient elven symbol for comrade engraved into it. When activated, a wild green flame like nature energy surrounds your animal companion, increasing their defenses as well as their offensive abilities. As a bonus action, you speak the command word, unleashing the ferocity contained in the amulet. The beast wearing this amulet gains the following effects for 1 minute. Resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. When it makes a melee weapon attack using strength, it gains a bonus to the damage roll equal to your proficiency modifier. It becomes especially swift in its movements, and when it makes a melee attack against a creature, it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of its turn, whether it hits or not.
And Sam must know there's a cooldown for the item.
Yes, this effect
Yes, sir.
cannot be used again until the next dawn.
As you typed it in there.
I had it in there earlier.
That's a long rest.
Yeah, I had it in there earlier, and I removed it, and I forgot to put it back. Yes, I actually had. This isn't the exact one because I couldn't find my paperwork, but I had something very similar for my Beastmaster player, and it really helped him with some of because he felt really underpowered.
Oh,
though-
yeah, he's playing a Beastmaster.
Yes, Sam, I was hastily editing it. And I had something very similar like this because he felt underpowered. Now, there was something else I did that made him far more I let his beast attack as a bonus action. So that really brought him in par with some of the other damaging effects like he wanted. But this was a good way to make him feel like his pet had power because he was complaining that, hey, this is the only class where I get a really cool pet and it doesn't fucking do shit.
Nope.
But in this case, we increase his damage. We make him more tanky.
You know an archetype is bad when even WotC says, we may have screwed up with this one.
Yeah. And, you know, it has the mobile feat, basically. So it basically allowed this critter who died all the time to not die as easily. Now, he would only ever use it in boss fights because it was once a day. But it was enough that when they were in big boss fights that his critter didn't get one-shotted or that actually the original idea came because I'm a nerdy World of Warcraft player. The Beastmaster Hunter has a pet that turns their pet like red and they reduce damage, their damage goes up and they reduce receive damage and output goes up and all this other, they used to call it the Kool-Aid specs, they turn red, but that's where I got the idea from and it turned out working very, very well.
Dude, even the Hexblade gets a better pet than the Ranger.
Yeah, well, so does the Wizard. The Wizard's Find Familiar spell is a far superior pet, not in damage, but the fact that it can ensure that rogue gets advantage on his next attack and shit like that.
And a Hexblade can turn the enemy they kill into a Spectre.
That's awful.
I know, right?
So the
can't read
game that I
that.
wanted to talk about is a little game called Torchlight 2.
Oh, yeah.
And Torchlight 2 is objectively an awful game.
I like Torchlight.
It's tons of fun to play with friends. It's a good like sit down dungeon and crawl game. I play with my college friends all the time, and one of my favorite mechanics in the game is they actually treat your pets as an extension of your own character.
That's pretty cool.
Offer tons of opportunities to give it amulets, give it tags. You can give them actual tags that give them certain abilities.
Mm-hmm.
as well as feeding them different food. You can go fish for things, and then feed your pet the fish that gives them abilities for a certain amount of time.
Oh, that's cool.
But the biggest
So
thing you
that's,
use a
that's,
pet,
that's what this reminded me of.
biggest thing you use a pet for though in Torchlight is to make it carry your crap back to town and sell it for you.
That's the best part. Yes.
Actually, I remember Penny Arcade actually made fun of that, where she's like, "Okay, boy, take my stuff back and sell it to town." Dog goes back to the shopkeeper in town. What? More stuff? Fine, but I'm going to give you 200 gold this time. And dog shows back up to the player character. 30 gold? Good dog.
What the hell?
Dog skimming off the top.
That's funny. Stealing. That's how you got to pay for those kibbles and bits, man.
Yeah.
There's one thing I was looking at really quick because under the Beastmaster archetype for the Ranger.
It sucks.
No, there's something very specific though.
I remember back in the playtest when the Ranger could actually get... No, when the Druid could also get ammo companions. In fact, during the playtest, one guy summoned the Tyrannosaurus as his companion. It was great.
Yeah, see, I think the thing that I changed is I did let him attack as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately is like a 7th level of feature for the thing, and I had to give him a new feature for that. Oh, here's what I did. Okay, so the 7th level thing says your beast companion doesn't attack. You can use it to a bonus action to command it to dash, disengage, dodge, or take the help action. I think I let him use a bonus action to take the help action, like the Find Familiar. I treated it more like the Find Familiar spell summon than I did the Beastmaster, and I think that really added a lot of balance to it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that'll do it for... Where's my notes? I think that that'll do it for this Battle Barding Amulet. Like I said, it's the first animal companion item I've seen, mostly because I made it, but... I hope that people like it. I haven't seen nothing like it. Maybe I'm onto something. Maybe make a little book of animal companions. Hey, now your Beastmaster doesn't have to suck.
That's a good idea.
Also, I just love the idea of like the energy blowing around this thing and just intimidating as hell. That'll do it for our magic item. Our Dungeon Master tip of the podcast is video clips. Now, this sounds weird, but I was on Twitter... And I saw it was a different game, and I think it was Starfinder. One of the DMs created a video that was like a recruiting ad for his game for his players because they had to like pick a faction. So he had these 3 different recruiting ads that he had, and then they had to choose a faction based on these ads that he made, which I thought was just awesome. I was like, man, what other uses could you have for something like that, where you record a short video and show it to the players, maybe 10, 15 seconds, not that long? Oh, and a question from Sam here says, how do you limit familiar or companion spamming the help action? I don't.
You don't. Because Find Familiar already does that.
Yeah, that's what it's there for. What I have done is if it gets too annoying, the enemies will attack them. And then they die. And then they have to wait till after combat or burn a spell slot to bring them back.
Yep.
Find Familiar and companions taking the help action is part of the game. And like, for instance, with the wolf thing, if he bites on and he grabs onto the arm, sure, he's not doing damage, but you know how hard it is to fight with a sword with a freaking wolf yanking on your arm or on your leg. Or we've all seen the movies of the people being attacked by the little chihuahua. You know, it's annoying as hell. Makes it hard to work. So at that point, if it becomes a problem, any intelligent creature would just shoot the thing or stab it or something, you know.
Oh, not about the dog from the John Wayne movie, Big Jake.
Yeah. Now the real issue comes is with like the owl who has flyby, so they can't just like melee attack him. They would have to stop and shoot him. But that's a trade off for that. Shoot it and it dies usually in one shot. So I don't worry about this so much. So anyways, back to the video clips. So here are some ideas that I came up with, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it as well. You can use the video to create cutscenes with a voice for great introductions. So, for instance, your group first makes it for the first time to Waterdeep. and you can have a little clip that shows this massive, image of Waterdeep, and it's kind of showing different pictures of Waterdeep as you narrate maybe 2 or 3 lines of lore about Waterdeep, that it's, this massive trade town and blah, 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 whatever. I think having a screen set up and showing them that would have a really big impact on the size of it, especially if you can get a really good set of pictures, different pictures that actually show the image or show the city layout and everything. Another thing is if they are going into a forest for the first time. Say you're level 1 and they go looking through the dark evil misty swamp or whatever, and when they finally approach you, play a short clip that's got like dark night music with all the crickets and everything, and it shows like fog and this really nice artwork. I think little things like that can add to the moment, kind of like you would see in like a video game or something along those lines. Or even a movie, I guess. And then the other two things I thought would be cool is fortune telling. There's a lot of like little fortune telling games that you could cut just like a little scene out of, and play it as you tell a ominous fortune to the PCs. There's a couple videos I found just googling it real quick where it shows some creepy old lady throwing bone dice or something like that. And just say, hey, you see this dark, curly-haired woman, and she throws these dragon knuckles on there, and they skitter around. You can just say that, but if you show a small video clip, that adds to it. And then the last thing I thought would be really cool is using it as a powerful tool for scrying. Maybe a powerful wizard could show them information in the form of magic mirror or something, the quote-unquote using the video for something like that. What do you guys think about that?
Well, Tate said he doesn't see himself editing video, but he can see himself using a PowerPoint.
That could do it too.
Yeah.
What about you, Camden? Mr. Audio Editor, Mr. Producer, Mr. Great Man?
Yeah, I was going to say, not everyone is as proficient as me in editing things. No, I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
Me?
That'd be an awesome idea, just to use simply a PowerPoint, but really, I guess the takeaway from this is any sort of additional visual.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's familiar with Critical Role, when they first started their very first campaign to help like dip people's toes into their characters, before every episode they played like 15 solid minutes of their characters' backstories, and they're all voice actors, so they're really good at telling their backstories. But that with it was simply just a slideshow of MTG art. Mm-hmm. That was relevant to their character and their race and their class and everything. So just any sort of visual brings a lot to the campaign.
Yeah, that was actually a great example, and I don't know why I didn't think about it, because that was really awesome. If you can put something together, and you could even take like little cutscenes from movies and stuff that exist already. You don't have to necessarily make your own. Like for instance, if I was talking about like I'm listening to Aragon right now, so I'm going to talk about that. If I wanted to describe and show my players Dwelden Varden, I could easily find footage of like Skyward video of massive forests with giant waterfalls and all this stuff, and just show like a 10-second clip with a brief description that I'm overlaid with it, or that I'm talking as it's going, to really add that oomph. You know what I mean? Because everyone says, yeah, you enter a big dark creepy forest. That's awesome. But to show a video of something like that can really bring it home. So I just thought that was super cool with the Starfinder thing. Yeah, did you have any points on that, Ian?
Not that I didn't already say.
All right. That'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip of the podcast. And apparently Ed says...
if we're all that great, we wouldn't be here.
Actually, he says, we're still waiting for you to reach the greatness you think you are. Thanks, New York Tater. Blah. Okay, so our final Unearthed Tips and Trick is our player tip.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by...
Mending Master.
Becoming a mending master. That's a really good one. Camden, do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. So this is obviously revolving around the mending cantrip that you can take in several spellcasting classes. And this just goes along the vein of not being a dick by helping out your fellow PCs. In this case, specifically with the mending cantrip. This is a hugely underrated cantrip in that you can use it to literally fix anything
It
that
really
is
is.
not organic. You can't use it to heal people. You can't use it to like mend a broken bone or anything. But if you have someone who's really heavy on weapons and they rolled a 1 in the last encounter and their sword broke or something, or if you have someone who's trying out the gunslinger artificer thing, their shit breaks all the time.
Yeah.
You can use this cantrip. It's a cantrip. You can use it as many times as you want.
Oh yeah.
But help out your fellow PCs in fixing their shit. You can repair broken arrows, damaged armor, damaged weapons. If you encounter an oozes break shit. You can fix that.
Even mid combat, actually. If a player
Yeah.
said I wanted to mend his weapon after it had like a -3 or 4 net modifier, I would have no problem with that.
Suck it, Rossbuster.
But Camden, what about some of the stuff that's not related to just simple breaks?
So you can breaking down a wooden object and hollowing it out, and then placing the object you want inside, and then casting mending around that to seal the object inside of the enclosure, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I could see like somebody using a staff and carrying their secrets inside of the staff and then mending it back together. So if maybe they die or something, it's like their will and testament, or maybe their most powerful spells or something. Who knows? I really like. It's a powerful anti-theft device. Did you know that?
Can be, yeah.
Did you know that, Camden?
I did not.
So for those of you who don't know, if you don't want your cart stolen, or for instance, if you don't want your cart stolen by thieves, you can break the wheels and go bury the wheels and then just mend them when you come back.
That's crazy. I've never thought of that.
What about repairing damaged art and then increasing its sale value? Has actually happened to me. One of my players so how badly damaged is this statue? Yeah, it's pretty bad. He's only gonna give you a few hundred gold. He's like, well, what if I mend it? Give me 10 minutes because I don't know. But yeah, and then there was a very unique one I've seen. How many of you guys have had rogues pick handcuffs or stuff? Pick handcuffs or get out of handcuffs?
A lot.
Happens pretty regularly. Would you agree, Camden?
I would say so.
What if your player approached you and says, I would like to talk to a blacksmith about creating a pair of handcuffs that don't disconnect and have no lock? What? Can I do that? Sure. All right, now can he break it? What? So that way I run into somebody, I can mend them on their wrists, and they aren't getting out of that shit at all. Another thing you could use it for would be the secret password. You ever seen anything like this, you guys?
Mm-mm.
Where you break something in half and give it to two different to another person you trust. And the only way they can return is if the part that they mate matches. It's great for IDing people too. If somebody shows up, if Camden shows up or leaves, and I'm worried that somebody's going to disguise himself as him or come back and doesn't have that item, or does have a duplicate of the key, you can mend them back together. Or use the mend to try to mend them back together. Now the idea is that if it's not the mating one, it shouldn't work. But
Yeah.
I don't know how well that works in 5th edition versus older editions, but I definitely think it has 1,000,001 uses that I don't see often enough for it being such a powerful cantrip.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What is the most clever thing you've seen done with them, either of you?
I think you actually came up with more than a few that I've already seen already, so good job.
Edward says, are the cuffs a one-time use thing? Is like, well, till you break them. Which also comes with the problem. I think the solution was heat metal the last time. When it was used, they used heat metal to soften it and pry it loose.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it burnt the person wearing them. He's like, yeah, well, if you weren't such a bad guy that I needed to capture you, you wouldn't be getting hurt. I'm like, that's an adequate response, I suppose.
I feel like there's also a shape metal spell or something, but I don't know.
I don't remember.
Probably not. Anywho.
Unless there's anything else, I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Did we say don't be a dick?
Yes.
To avoid dickitude?
Yeah.
Okay. I forget sometimes. I've noticed when we're going through the episodes. Camden, any last thoughts on this before I close her out?
No, sir. That's a really good tip.
All right. That'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by being a mending master. God, I want to take the mending cantrip now. I wonder what other ways I can think of that using that. Like, that could be just, like, his job. Like, he's just a repairman, and all he does is mend stuff. That'd be, like, the best repairman. How is anything in disarray in a fantasy world with shit like this?
That'd be a good character concept
Yeah.
for a transmutation wizard.
Yeah, just... Oh, your door is fixed? That'll be 3 silver. I'm done. Oh, the repairman. You know what? I'm going to edit that out. I might put that as next week's character concept. That's funny. I like
Okay.
that. Anyways, that'll do it for our show today, I think. But before we close out, we have one more gift to give away. And I think I don't want to see Tater's insult, so maybe I won't dance this time. Camden, who is our winner of Jeff Stevens' awesome Dragon's Breath Tavern?
This week's winner of Dragon's Breath Tavern is Michael Nanaman.
Said that 5 times fast.
I couldn't say it once. That's why I had him do it.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand. You don't have to hide.
Oh God! Ed says he'll. New York Tater says he'll dance at the next pals meeting. That's awesome. So that'll do it for our show today. Please join us on our next episode where we hear feedback from you, our heroes. We will be discussing Metamorphica, a collection of system-agnostic mutation tables. I'm super excited for this one.
I picture somebody growing a 3rd arm.
Oh, dude, if that was only.
I know.
This thing has like over 500 different different things that you can combine and make infinite number of combinations. So
That's
I'm
few.
super stoked to talk about that a little bit, which is weird because it was actually introduced to me like a year and a half ago, and it's been sitting in my Google Drive forever, and I'm just now getting to it.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked. So actually, do you want to take that?
If you have any feedback, other tips and tricks, or topics you'd like to discuss, please send them. And you can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy.
This is
We
good.
hope you've enjoyed your experience.
I think
Camden.
maybe.
Oh, this is me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to point to the camera.
Okay, got it. We hope you've enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy this week. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a 5-star review on iTunes or on your platform of choice. We're on Spotify as well. That's where a lot of people seem to find us, which is awesome. Or you can simply send us a message telling us how much you enjoyed the show. Please also make sure to give us a like and a share on your social medias.
And make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com so we can help you on your future adventures, as well as a chance to win cool prizes each and every week.
You will find our fellowship member links there for the Crit Nation Fellowship. I can't recommend checking out Interparty Conflict enough. Gabe and Jeff do an amazing job, and their show is their show's a lot like our Let's Talk About Blank segment, where they answer your questions to help bring you the best tabletop experience possible. Man, they're great. I wish our quality was as good as theirs. They got really expensive mics though.
Yeah.
And also check out D&D Character Lab. Those guys do a bard-like battle every single week with new and very creative characters that they go so much in depth on, and do just an amazing job. They were actually just on one of the more recent episodes of Interparty Conflict as well, and that was a really great episode. So you guys really got to check those both out, as well as you'll find links to our sponsorship members, as well as other group members of our Crit Nation Fellowship, because it's not just podcasts, it's community sites like Oricon's Lair and Game Master Stash. You check them out and go take a look. There's always some good stuff there. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your co-host, Camden. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Brandon's going to kill me if he ever listens to this. I let you do that. Oh, man.
Kenny Ray says, in his opinion, we are better than in Interparty Conflict.
Don't ever.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah, don't ever tell that to Gabe. I love you, Gabe.
Don't ever do that again.
Ed agrees apparently. No, I really love their show, and they give me lots of inspiration. So that does it for our show. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Oh, there's one other thing I got to add to the show. I'll just have to move this up. Next month, I will be giving away a special prize to anybody who's written a review on iTunes. So if you haven't done it,
hell yeah.
make sure you go and write one, preferably a 5-star. So I don't know. Should I give like everyone an extra chance for every point? Like the guy that puts like a 1-star has one
every star.
Yeah, 1 point in the bucket, and then everyone that put 5 gets like 5 points in the bucket, and then I roll the bucket and pull out of it.
And you're welcome, Sarah.
So what?
I'd say let's give that to 4 or 5-star reviews.
That's fair.
That's fair. So if you go to iTunes and leave us a 4 or 5-star review, you'll be entered to win fat loots. Woot woot. So yes, that'll do it. Oh, I do have one question for everyone, and since the patrons are here, they can listen if they want. It'll only take a second.
Okay.
In the 4th edition books that I have, there are interviews with a lot of the Wizards of the Coast people. So I was thinking that I can convince my wife to come and record that stuff with us. Do you think that would be something you guys would be interested in?
Record interviews?
Well, they're interviews that are written out, but I'd like to share them because they got really great content in them. And I was thinking, since one of the people is being interviewed most of the time is a female, I might convince my wife to do it with me and have this really cool interview. What do they call that when they redo it on TV? A dramatization?
Yeah.
When they do a dramatization of something like that. Is that something you guys might be interested in?
Yeah, like a script reading.
Yeah.
Cool.
You would like to see an actual person?
If it's good content, I think that would make great.
I love the content, but I've been trying to figure out a way to bring it to everyone. Do you want to go? You can go.
Okay.
So I'll see you later.
Okay. See you all. I sleep now.
Yeah, he hasn't slept since like 2 a.m. Wait, yeah, go. Okay, get out of here.
Now work at 3 a.m.
Yeah, see you later.
It's not almost 9.
I don't think that I'll get in trouble doing it because I'm going to cite the sources. And it's a very small segment of what's in the pages. That being said, I'm not so sure. I'd say it falls under fair use, maybe, as long as I give credit that it's not my content.
Yeah, and we're not making. I think it's fair use if we're not making any money off of it.
Right, and yeah, so I don't know. It was just something that I thought I would do for the patrons first, and see if you guys like it. If it's a problem from there, I might, because they're long in the pay book, but I think it would take us like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to finish it, so it'd be really small stuff. But I love that sort of stuff, and I'm trying to get my wife to help me with some stuff. So. A hobby. I can always type my wife for the hobby job. I thought that said hand job. I was like, that's not how that works. It's for work, honey. Yeah, she doesn't care. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you all later. Bye.